This has been a wonderful opportunity for us to recognize a great woman, and we are saddened that she was too ill to attend, but we certainly remember her in our thoughts and our prayers. Thank you for being here. We appreciate that very much. Also in our audience is the person who got this together for us. Made all the plans, made those beautifully decorated cookies that look like the state of Louisiana, Mr. Marty Otterford, and he is our first vice president for RSEA. Thank you, Marty, for making this possible for us. Also, Butch Gaudreau, who is a former state senator and a friend of the Blanco family. Thank you for being here, Butch, and bringing your lovely wife, Marilyn, with you today. Benny Harris is here as well. He's the committee chairperson for the Hall of Fame Award. Benny, raise your hand. Wake up and raise your hand. There you go. All right, thank you, Benny, for all you do for us. And Frank Joair, who is our RSEA Legislative and Governmental Affairs Director. Frank keeps us on our toes with everything that's going on in the legislature, and he's there every day. He knows what's going on, and he shares that with the entire membership of RSEA, which is currently about 8,500 members. Jimmy Anthony is here with us today as well. He works in the RSEA office as the administrative director. Thank you for coming today, Jimmy. Also, we have members of the LASERS, Louisiana State Employees Retirement System. Cindy Rougeau, who is the executive director. All right, Cindy. Maris LeBlanc, who is the COO of LASERS. And Trey Boudreau, who is the assistant director and the chief assistant officer. Also, Representative Sam Jones is here with us. Thank you, Representative, for being here with us. And we will ask you to say a few words during the program. Thank you for coming. Is Dr. Savoy here?
No, he had to go out of town.
Okay. All right. Also, I want to thank Dr. Martha Bryant, who works here at the Picard Center and sets all of this up for us, and she is just the go-to person. She takes good care of us, and includes her son in that too, who does a lot for us, and thank you so much for that. All right, at this time I would like to ask Benny Harris to come forward. He is going to give us some history and the importance of the Hall of Fame Award.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was asked to do this, and some things came to mind. Some time ago, when we were reflecting on our retirement system and what it meant to us, and realized that the system did not just happen. There were some people who saw the need and the benefit it had for the employees and indeed for the state. Good people made good things happen. We also noted that amongst all of these good people, there were some great people, people who went above and beyond, people who possessed unique understanding and dedication of their time, efforts, and talents, as they happen to be. Now, these people truly deserve recognition for their contributions, varied and important as they were. We thought that was right. And we thought it was our duty to create a means to recognize and honor these wonderful, humble, and honorable people. We then created the Louisiana Retired State Employees Hall of Fame, the RSEA Hall of Fame, and it recognizes public servants who, through their public careers, and other activities in retirement that make significant contributions to the employees and the retirees of the state of Louisiana. Now, appropriately, our very first inductee into the RSEA Hall of Fame was Governor Jimmy Davis, the singing governor. You all remember him. But Governor Davis, among his many other contributions to the welfare of the state of Louisiana and employees, created the employee retirement system known as LASERS. And you have those wonderful members here with us today. And during his time on this way of service, there was also a Public Service Commission. Now we have come full circle from where we started, with the governor to be the first to be entered into our Hall of Fame, to the place where we have found another governor worthy to be recognized in our Hall of Fame. 45 governors later.
Thank you, Benny, for that. Frank, could you come and join us at the podium, please? He's going to talk about some of the highlights of Governor Blanco's term in office.
Thank you, Ms. Gwen. Thank you all for being here today. I'm going to cover just a couple of quick anecdotes. Yes. And a little story or two that I heard over the last few weeks that I was unaware of, even though I served in state government for 30 years. I wasn't privileged to serve during Governor Blanco's term. I had retired in 2003 and she came into office in 2004. But she did do 24 years of state service. She's a public servant. And that's the purpose of the Hall of Fame, to recognize those individuals who have served our state well. And we try to recognize their contributions that they made to the system and to the members of the system, and also the citizens of the state of Louisiana, which surely Governor Blanco did. The story I picked up on was actually given to me. It's pretty lengthy. It's by our board member, Alan Reynolds, who's the treasurer of RSEA. He at the time was the civil service director for the entire state of Louisiana, and he worked with Governor Blanco in that unfortunate time post-Katrina, back in 2005, 2006. And Alan worked directly with the Civil Service Commission and Governor Blanco, and he sent me these things. It's a list of things that they accomplished to keep state government moving and to keep the state employees busy and to keep them with some money in their pockets. I thought this was very, very noteworthy. I had never heard this story before. Maybe I was too busy taking care of my own business to think about anybody else's, because we were flooded out like many other people, and we were all scrambling just to try to see which way was up. But basically, it goes something like this. It says thousands of state employees were displaced, and many state facilities were destroyed or otherwise unusable, and the needs of our citizens were greater than ever. Something had to be done. Governor Blanco worked with the Civil Service Commission to establish emergency procedures to deal with this unprecedented situation. Here's what she did that, again, I had never heard of. It was unbelievable. She allowed employees to be assigned to work outside of their agencies, either with other state agencies, the federal government, local government, private charitable entities, and to be paid, continue to be paid by their home agency. She directed all state agency heads to continue to utilize displaced employees wherever possible. Number 3, she reminded agencies that employees who could not work because their agency was closed were to be kept on special leave status. This meant that the employees in that situation remained on the state payroll with complete benefits. They were able to keep their group insurance, and they continued to be contributing members to the state employees retirement system. 2 very, very outstanding things that most employees and retirees actually revere and have to keep their lives in order. And of course, the last thing she did was authorize agencies to utilize special pay for employees performing duties related to the hurricane itself. These measures remained in effect during an emergency declaration that Governor Blanco declared, and it allowed state government to continue to function. Later, and I'll get into this in a minute, later, Governor Blanco again worked with civil service, and it's a part of the proclamation that I'll read, that she actually implemented a pay adjustment for all classified and unclassified state employees. And the person I'm going to bring up to tell us a little more about that is former Senator Butch Gotro, who is a trustee emeritus on the board of directors of RSEA. And he went to the table with Governor Blanco at the Civil Service Commission hearing back, I believe it was in around 06 or 07. And Butch, if you would come up and tell us a little bit about that, I'd appreciate it. Senator Butch Gotro.
Good afternoon. It certainly was an honor to serve under Kathleen Blanco. She was an outstanding governor who served with humility and just she knew what she was doing. She was very strong and committed on the things that had to do with people. She loved people, the people of Louisiana, and especially the people that served Louisiana in a position in state government. So that was just a great honor. What happened is we had a bill to increase the minimum wage of Louisiana employees. I'm talking about the whole state. And of course, it couldn't get out of committee, as it's been tried many times. But I got a call from Kathleen about 2 or 3 evenings later, and she said, "What do you think about this?" And increasing the minimum wage for state employees. I said, "I think that's great." Well, we went together to the Public Service Commission and got it passed. And that meant a lot to a lot of people who were just on meager wages and could barely get by. Anyway, she's a great friend, and has been a good friend back to the time that she ran for the Public Service Commission. And I remember her always as just a wonderful person who cared about people.
Thank you, Butch. Appreciate that. Butch is referring to, apparently we had some state employees at that time who were making less than the federal minimum wage, if you can believe that. And Governor Blanco took the initiative, went to the commission, personally appeared, and advocated for a pay raise for all those employees in these low-paying civil service positions. With the help of Butch and others, and of course the commission's ultimate approval, they were able to at least raise everyone above the federal minimum, and of course, in most cases, they raised them quite a bit more than the minimum and got them up to where they needed to be. So I thought that was 2 very interesting anecdotes that I had never heard, even though I was a state employee for 30 years, and had never heard those stories, but I was pleased to be able to relay that one to you all. The next person I'd like to bring up is a person we all know on the retiree side. Sam Jones is on the retirement committee for the House of Representatives, and he's my go-to person. If I had to tell you when I needed something done, in fact, this most recent session, he introduced a resolution memorializing Congress to help us repeal the weapon, the GPO. He sponsored that resolution on the House side, and Senator Beth and myself did likewise on the Senate side. But the point is that when I need something retirement related, the first person I call is Sam Jones. He's given me his cell phone, he's given me his private cell phone. He calls me in the middle of the night, I call him. If we need something done, we'll work on it together. But Sam, for those of you who don't know, he was the mayor of Franklin, Louisiana for 22 years. And in fact, he's a retiree himself. So it's good to have a fellow retiree in the audience. And he also serves in the Deputy Director's position for the Governor's Office of Community Programs and Rural Development during the Blanco administration. And if you would, Sam, come up and tell us a little bit about your experience working with the governor and anything else you'd like to add to the story.
Causes us to reflect on some of the things you said, some of the things that Senator Gotro and we served one term together in the House, we and him in the Senate, and he was a champion for the retirement system too, and I don't want that to be lost here today. From the Blanco family and Kathleen herself, I think I met her the first time on Mud Bayou in St. Mary Parish on a duck hunt with Coach, and she could shoot better than So that's why he always behaved when she had her. So many stories there. We're going to write that book. Kathleen Blanco, when I was serving in the middle of my 6th term as mayor, she called and she said, "Come to my house, I want to talk to you." I said, "Okay, what's it about?" And she was the lieutenant governor at the time, and she had really been struggling to overcome the loss of their youngest child, Ben. And every time I'd see her, she was really struggling with that. I said, "Well, she's up to something. Let me see, and see if she's going to retire from politics or something. She'd just go home." And when I got there, there was, I think, 10 ladies and me, and Coach was consigned to the kitchen. And she starts off by saying, "I'm here to tell y'all that I'm going to run for governor." Okay. And then you listen to hear for the rest of it. What's the rest of the story? And she gave one of the most passionate proposals on how I'm going to do it, how hard I'm going to work, and how I'm going to win. And I remember going there with trepidation because I had an idea that she was going to do something way out of the ordinary. And I remember driving home thinking, she can win. Just that determination was something that told me she can win. I had that same thing happen to me with Mike Foster, who lives in Franklin. I played baseball in Little League with his son, and he was the financier of the team. I remember the day he told me he was going to win. There are just those folks that have that determination. And I guess I've been fortunate to be at the right place. I had a roommate and a seatmate in the legislature called John Bell Edwards, who also told me he was going to run for governor. And after he told me, I said, you know, this guy's going to win. The common denominator in all that is me.
He's a lucky charm.
A lucky charm, you know, so if anybody else is thinking in the future because Governor John Bell Edwards is going to get reelected, that's a good thing for retirees and consistent. But Governor Blanco told me after that election, you need to quit being mayor. You've done that too long. You're always stopping by and complaining about stuff. Actually, she used the B word about stuff. And come help me at the state level to fix some things that are damaged and need to be fixed. And you got to have a brain, you know, you can think some of these things through. So I threw it to, yeah, let's do that. And under Coach's watchful eyes, we kind of figured let's do this. I did. I left in the middle of the 6th term and went to work for her. And we were really doing some good stuff as Butch has mentioned before the hurricane came. But she never lost sight of the big picture. And one of the things that she understood, maybe it was by virtue of having been a state employee herself, the value of a defined benefit program. And I know that's complicated for most people to work their way through, but a defined benefit simply means that when you retire, this is the amount of money you're going to get every month for the rest of your life, and if you choose the spousal benefit, that's the amount they're going to get for the rest of their lives. No matter if we have a depression, if the economy tanks, it's not like a 401k. If your 401 tanks, you tank with it. A defined benefit is based on the same characterization as Social Security. Two of the finest retirement programs ever designed by humankind. And she was one that first fended off the challenge of these reformers that wanted to come reform and turn it into a defined contribution and other things that at the end of the day always leaves the employee vulnerable and exposed to disruption somewhere down the line. She fought that fight early, and after she left office, that group continued, and they fought really hard during the next 8 years of the Jindal administration, and only by virtue of having bipartisan opposition to that and the requirement of 2/3 votes to make such major changes, we were able to fend that off sometimes by a mere single vote. And Governor Blanco was always someone I would call and talk to during that time and during those fights, and she would always have those tidbits. Senator Gautreaux and I would have those conversations on how we would fend that off. And while I'm here, I do want to give credit to the current president of the parish, Joe Robideau. He did a reform bill that actually, I think, put us on the path to finally solving our unfunded liability problem. And he deserves some credit, along with the work that Governor John Bel Edwards did, who is also a great defender of the defined benefits program. And it's even more important now for state employees in the retirement system, since the public pension offset that was passed for Social Security in the 1980s when Ronald Reagan did a rehash of the Social Security program. If you're collecting Social Security and a public pension, there's a penalty on your Social Security, and it takes 30 years of Social Security earnings to work that off. Hence, we send that memorial every year to Congress to ask them to fix that because it's not fair to people. If you pay full Social Security, you should get the benefit, and you shouldn't be penalized for that. Governor Blanco supported that every year as well. Those are things that she did that just didn't, they weren't sexy for the media, they weren't something that would trump something else that would be on TV for the day, but those are the kinds of things that get you Hall of Fame status. And that's why she deserves this award. I'm proud to be here to accept that award on behalf of the family. We had the great fortune of renaming Highway 90 from I-10 all the way to Raceland, the Governor Kathleen Blanco Highway, just the other day. She attended, she was really proud of that. But you know, she deserves that too. She deserves to be remembered for a long time for all of her good work. We have lived as Cajuns, and I have a Cajun grandparent and mother. We lived on the hope that Evangeline, the story of Evangeline. We lived that hope, that we were thrown out of Nova Scotia by the British in the 1750s, and we were sent to what back then was called a God-forsaken place filled with heat, humidity, and we lived on bugs and things that swam in the ditch, and frogs, and a place that nobody wanted to settle. And the resilience of the Cajun people, and Kathleen Blanco is the epitome of a Cajun woman. The resilience of the Cajun people means that we're intending to be here tomorrow and the day after and the next year and generations to come. That's what we give to our children. That's what she's given. And I thought it was appropriate to put that amendment on that bill and name that highway for what I consider to be the Evangeline of her time. She was our Evangeline, and she deserves this recognition. And I could go on and on and on about things she did that I saw. But I'm going to close on this one. And Governor John Bel Edwards, again, who is a great defender of the public retirement system, it was one of the nights on the first week of the storm, Katrina. I think it was Thursday night. And Coach and I actually had gone to Gretna to check on things and see that the buses were moving and rolling, and the governor was on another mission, and we'd flown in the helicopters all day long for all those days and many days after, which really, I don't want to ride in a helicopter anymore. But it was about midnight, we'd gotten back, and she had just gotten there, and there were two buses behind the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, and she was walking out of one to go into the EOC, and in the two buses was where she would sleep that night. The 1 or 2 hours of sleep she was able to get. And I remember it was about midnight, and she was walking, just a state trooper, and I was walking in from where we had come from. And I had been aware of all the noise and racket that was going on the TV and all the negative stuff coming out of Washington and people planning terrible stories and all kinds of stuff. And I said, Governor, I need to take a second to tell you something. I said, man, they're really doing so. We're political animals. They're really doing something on there, a rip job and everything else. And I just want you to be aware it could impact your next election. And we had done politics together for years. She stopped, she said, Sam, she says, I don't give a damn about the next election. I'm worried about the office I have now and the trust that the people gave me to take care of the job that I have now. I don't care about the next election. And that's who she was. She was not running for the next office. She wasn't running for president. She wasn't running for whatever. She was concentrated and fixated on the job. That's the same thing she did the whole time that I worked for her, the whole time that I've known her. She's a true public servant who never lost track of the mission, whose heart for people was huge, bigger than people would ever know. So I'm honored to be here to speak on her behalf and share that story with you.
I didn't mean to forget one other thing that I should have said. Trustee Emeritus on our Board of Directors of RSEA, Butch Gotro, he was our senator and chairman of the Senate Retirement Committee, and he was our go-to man for myself as well as the legislative staff and board during his tenure in office. That's why when he retired from state government, I got him on our board. And I'm so happy that he's serving with us. He's a great resource and a great friend. Thank you, Butch, for being here. All right, I guess we're going to go into the presentation of the proclamation itself. I'm going to read it. It's too much for me to memorize. There's a lot of firsts in here that you're going to hear. The proclamation is on display, and I have an extra copy if anybody from the media would like to have it to take with them. I'll start off by just saying the following. Whereas the Retired State Employees Association of Louisiana was organized and established as a nonprofit organization on November 14th, 1966. That's over 50 years ago. Whereas the mission of RSEA of Louisiana is to advance the quality of life of current and future retired state employees who have given of their talents to the state of Louisiana. And whereas the RSEA Hall of Fame was established to recognize the contributions made by retired public servants to enhance the role, professionalism, image, and visibility of public service in Louisiana. And whereas it honors those public servants who have made significant contributions to the citizens of Louisiana through their public service and community involvement. And whereas Kathleen Babineau Blanco was a career public servant who dedicated 24 years of her life to the citizens of Louisiana, having served as a Louisiana state representative for 5 years, from 1984 to 1989, in the 45th District, as the first woman representing the city of Lafayette, the first female elected to the Louisiana Public Service Commission for 7 years, from 1989 to 1996, and the first woman chairperson of the Public Service Commission in 1993 and 94, and the 50th Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana for 2 terms, 1996 to 2004, and finally as the 54th Governor of Louisiana from 2004 to 2008, as the first woman be elected governor of Louisiana. And whereas Governor Blanco's top priorities were providing affordable health care, improving the education system in the state, helping to create a strong and vibrant economy through aggressive economic development initiatives, and despite the upheaval of Hurricane Katrina and Rita in 2005, she met all of her initial goals by the end of her term, most notably prioritizing education investment from pre-K to the university level. And whereas, most notably, Governor Blanco personally appeared and testified before the Louisiana Civil Service Commission on July 19, 2006, on behalf of state employees, and she successfully advocated for a pay raise, a special entrance rate, and civil service pay grade changes in order to raise low-paying civil service positions to at or above the minimum federal wage for all state jobs effective August 14, 2006. And whereas Kathleen Blanco is deserving of special recognition for her 24 years of public service and her contributions to the state and state employees, now therefore, on this 8th day of August, 2019, the Retired State Employees Association of Louisiana honors Governor Kathleen Babineau Blanco as the 2nd female inductee into the Retired State Employees Hall of Fame and the 7th inductee. Signed, Gwen Thompson, President, Retired State Employees Association of Louisiana. Ms. Gwen, if you would please present the proclamation to the family members.
I think the most important thing that Kathleen says, and feels so strong about it, the way to get better is through education and give opportunities for kids who don't usually get it. And she had it going really good, and it got off track, but the present governor is doing a fabulous job with education. And we need to acknowledge that when they are great, for children to be the best they can be. Thank you very much.